This is a tutorial on how to create annotations that are synchronized to your narration. So I've got a slide here with various bullet points on it, and what I want to do is at certain points when I mention key words, I want an arrow or something to appear to highlight the word that I'm talking about. So I've already recorded some narration, and what I want to do is mark the points in this narration where I want these objects to appear. So just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to focus on the 5 techniques at the end. I'm just going to mark up 3 of them: paper, Wizard of Oz and video. So what I'm going to do is play the narration, and then when it gets to the point in the narration where I want my annotation to appear, I'm going to insert a cue point. And the way that you do this, the easiest way, is just to press the C key at the right time. So here we go. I'm going to play the narration, and you should be able to hear it. After successfully studying this lecture, you should be able to describe the concept of a prototype, distinguish between sketching and prototyping. I'm getting ready with my C key. And distinguish between 5 different prototyping techniques: paper prototyping, Wizard of Oz, video prototyping, physical prototyping, and software prototyping. Okay, so there are my 5 cue points. I'm only going to use the first 3, as I said. I could have stopped the narration and moved the playback head and had a bit more control over where I put them, but that takes a bit longer, and this is a quicker process. So now I want to create an object which I'm going to use to do the annotation. There are lots of different objects you could do, and lots of different ways of doing it. I'm going to go to the insert menu and select shapes, and I'm going to use an arrow, a block arrow. So I select that, and now I need to draw my arrow, something like that. I don't really want it to be blue, so I'm going to right mouse click, and go to format shape and change the color from blue. How about a nice orange? There we go. And I'm just going to move this object to be positioned against the thing I want to talk about, which is paper. And now I'm going to copy this object as many times as I need it. So I'm going to do copy and paste. So this one's going to be for the Wizard of Oz, so I'll just line up with that, and then paste again, and that's going to be for video. Now at the moment they're all on screen at the same time, and they will remain on screen throughout the duration of the narration. And what I want to do is have them appear at the right points. So I'm going to start with right arrow 1, which is the top arrow, and this one I wanted to appear when I say the word paper. So the way that I do that is right click on this object in the timeline and select align to cue point, and then choose cue point 1. And there we go, and you'll see that in the timeline now the object doesn't start until about just after 15 seconds. So I'm going to do that with the other objects. So right arrow 2, right click, align to cue point, and this time cue point 2, and my third right arrow, align cue point 3. So I've now got the start points sorted out. If I scroll across, you can see right arrow 1 starts, and then later on right arrow 2 starts, and then right arrow 3 starts. At the moment, however, if I was to move the playback head into here, you'll see that all 3 objects are on the screen at the same time, whereas if I do it a bit earlier, what will happen is that objects 1 and 2 will be on the screen, and object 3 will appear later. So what I want to do is stop right arrow 1 being on the screen when right arrow 2 appears. So to do that, I just need to shorten the duration of right arrow 1. So what I do is click on the object in the timeline, and then go to the right hand end, and what I want is not the black double arrow that you can see here. That will affect all the objects in the timeline, but I want the white one, which I'll just get by moving slightly to the left, so I'm kind of highlighting this particular object, and this is the end point of this particular object, right arrow 1. So now if I hold my mouse button down and drag to the left, I can align it with the start. It kind of snaps slightly with the start of right arrow 2. I'm going to do the same with right arrow 2, find that little double white arrow, align the endpoint with the start of right arrow 3, and Yeah, I mean, I would probably shorten this one. Why don't we do it? Shorten right arrow 3 to, whoops, I'm moving the whole object. Try again. And align that with Q point 4, which is where I would put the fourth arrow if I had made the time to create it. So this should be working now. So we can preview it by clicking stop, and it will take the playback head to the beginning, and then click the playback. And let's see how it goes. After successfully studying this lecture, you should be able to describe the concept of a prototype, distinguish between sketching so we're just coming up to the paper 1 annotation, and distinguish between 5 different prototyping techniques. Here we go. Paper prototyping, Wizard of Oz, video prototyping, physical prototyping, and software prototyping. So there we are. I hope you can see how you can do those annotations and sync them with your narration.